Well, Margaret, thank you so much for taking the time out to be with me here today and to share some amazing tools that you've learned with Access Consciousness. Now, I know you began your journey with Access around 2004, and so you've been working with these potent tools since that time. So tell me a little bit about how you found Access Consciousness and your journey with Access.
Wow. Hi, Michelle. Great intro. Yeah, actually, it was an interesting time for me. I had only just, I think, 3 years earlier, had closed down my naturopathic clinic and returned to Brisbane for my kids to go to university. And I was on a big journey prior to that. I pretty much had done every church, cult, religion. I'd done a lot of spiritual, metaphysical programs. I had just spent a lot of money becoming a master hypnotherapist, master timeline therapist. And I still knew there was something missing, and it was really bizarre. And so this person who was in my life, and I'm not sure I would call her a friend because she's no longer around, but she said, hey, do you want to come along to this introduction night that there's this lady from the UK who's in Brisbane, and she's doing an introduction on this thing called Access Consciousness. So I went along, and I have to say truthfully, I had a lot of points of view in that I had things, and I didn't really get the change that I really thought I should get for the amount of money that I'd spent and for the amount of years I had been putting all these things into practice. And so I sort of went a bit with tongue-in-cheek as to how it was all going to go. Anyway, I thought it was the most weird, wild, wackiest stuff I'd ever come across. And so I pretty much took notes, went home, put the notebook away, and didn't give another thought to it until a few weeks later. And this lady rang me and she said, oh, I'm going to do a foundation level 1 class. Are you interested in that? And at that point, bars was included in the 2-day foundation class. And I just said to her, oh, I don't think so. It's just going to be a thing that's just going to make me feel good for a little while, and then nothing's really ever going to change. So I actually just once again let it go. And it was so interesting because the morning the class was starting, there was a 4th grader than me that got me out of bed, and I found myself driving to this place. And I did the 4 days. And same deal. It was like, I don't really... I think I slept through most of the 4 days, but something, I just knew there was an energy about it that I just knew I had to do more. And I didn't do a lot for the first month, and then Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, was in Sydney doing a sex and relationship class, and I just knew I had to go down and meet him and do that class. And so I did. And then a week later, I was on the Gold Coast doing level 2 and 3. And a week later, I was doing certified facilitators. So my journey with Access was very much, I guess, what you call at the speed of space. And here I am 12 years later, and my life is not recognizable. And wow, I have so much gratitude. I have so much gratitude for Gary firstly creating Access. And I'm so grateful for what it's become, because it keeps changing and growing. And I'm so grateful for Dr. Dane here, shown up to now create with Gary. But I'm also grateful for every single person who shows up, who does the classes, because we're all contributing to so much more. And the tools and techniques truly work. And as I said, my life has changed so much. And now for me, it's about the ease of life, whereas before I was just running on adrenaline and just stressed about everything all the time. And now it's like, wow, the mantra is, when you use the mantra, all of life comes to me with ease, joy and glory. That's exactly what does show up for you. So there's so many tools I'd love to share with you. And I guess what one would be one that sticks out? One that just jumped ahead. I've lived most of my 60 years in always being wrong. And I've always had the people show up in my life to tell me how wrong I am, because that was the point of view I've had about my. So one of the greatest tools of access that has facilitated the greatest change is what's right about me I'm not getting, and what's right about this and I'm not getting. And those two questions have totally facilitated an ease for me and so much more awareness. And as I shift more and more out of the judgment of me, I so get that there is no right, there is no wrong. And I know that that is that's showing up for me now, is knowing that whilst you're doing polarity, the right or wrong, good or bad, you're constantly down that rabbit hole of wrongness. And when you have that point of view about yourself, you always attract the people into your life to tell you how wrong you are. And that's been the story of my life. And now that's totally changed. Do I still have people who try to make me wrong? Yeah, but I'm not at the effect of any of it. And I can just be interesting point of view. And I go to question, is this person just projecting their own points of view about themselves at me? And that has been another gift, to know that most people in this reality live from judgments, projections, expectations, separations, and rejections. So knowing that has totally changed everything in my universe.
Wow, Margaret, that's wonderful. And I just want to kind of go a little deeper into the whole questions that are always talked about in Access Consciousness. Why is it that questions really can change people's lives? What is it about that? And I know that's a big part of Access Consciousness.
Yeah, the whole thing of access is to live as a question. The question always takes you into a possibility. It expands the energy. It takes you out of the conclusion. Most people in living this reality live in conclusion. And whilst you're in conclusion, you're not open to a different possibility.
Okay.
And the more you're actually choosing conscious awareness, you have to be willing to know that there's so much more available than what we see with our eyes or hear with our ears. There's just, it's just can go way beyond our wildest imagination if you're willing to ask questions. So
Wow.
that's how it works. See, a question changes the energy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I really get
And
that. I use those
yeah,
tools all the time, and I really get that. And that's the thing. It's a kind of an intangible in terms of, like, being able to touch it or see it, but we can feel it or perceive it and experience how that energy changes, and
yes,
directly see the effects of that in our own lives. And I know that since I've met you and I started on this journey with Access Consciousness, my life has changed dramatically. I just feel, for me, I would like to say that I just feel like I have more of who I am, and I feel like I'm just not judging me as much as I used to. I used to, like you, make myself wrong and always think I must be wrong and everybody else is right. And
yeah,
the beautiful gift for me with Access Consciousness is that I now know I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I mean, maybe I make some choices that aren't always the best choices. As we all do, we do things in life that we realize later, perhaps I could have done it differently. But that doesn't mean I have to go into judgment of me and make myself wrong and feel horrible about me, because Access Consciousness has shown me that I am a gift, and that each one of us is a gift, and that's incredible. I love that about Access Consciousness.
yeah. And, just to expand a little bit on what you just said then, when you truly get that there is no right or wrong choice, every choice creates awareness, and every choice creates. So as you choose, if you don't, each new choice you make, if you don't make it right or wrong or good or bad, it expands you to have more possibilities. It expands you to an awareness of what works for you in your own life and what doesn't work. So then you can get to make a new choice once you have the awareness that the choice you just made no longer works. And that has just made it so simple. I'll give you a really fast example from my own life. 2 nights ago, I was supposed to fly to the UK and to be in Europe facilitating for 2 months and to attend classes. And as it got closer, and I've had the ticket booked since last October, and the first week was to spend a week with my son and his wife and all her family and my new grandson. But as it's got closer and closer, it just got heavier and heavier. And the classes that I was to facilitate, it was like trying to push it through mud to get it to show up. And so I simply started to ask questions. What else is truly possible here? How does it get any better than this? Where, if not there, then where else and where else can I go in the world that's going to facilitate more consciousness? Where are the people looking for more? And I just stayed in the question. And so the day before I was to fly, I cancelled the flight. And so I'm like, you know, how many people are willing just to jump off the cliff and go, okay, that's not going to work. What's the new choice here? And I guess it's just has become so easy for me the minute I have the awareness that it's not working to make a new choice without making me wrong, you know, to, oh my gosh, but you spent $2,500 in a ticket and, you know, you've got to follow through and, oh my gosh, now you're not going to have a week with your son and your grandson. But none of that, I just had to choose what was going to work for me, and none of it was working for me. And it was like, okay, next, where will I like to go now? So that's the joy and the fun when you're actually willing to follow the energy and stand the question and keep choosing.
That's wonderful, because I think that's a really great point that you brought up. I think a lot of people have difficulty making choices. Personally, in
Yes.
my private practice, as I work as an energy healer and I do many other things as well, but I find that people come to me, they're like, how do I make a choice? And the thing that I share with them is that access tool. Well, if it feels really light, that's your body and your being letting you know that that choice is probably going to create a lot more for you than you can even imagine, and it's going to be easier and funner and yeah. And then if it's heavy and you really feel a heaviness or constriction in your body, and you just feel like, oh, I don't know, then you know that choice is not going to be very expansive, and it's probably going to be quite problematic. So I love that tool. I use it all the time, and I share it with as many people as I can, actually, almost on a daily basis, actually. It's pretty amazing.
It's also interesting what you said then too, because where a lot of people have said the same thing to me as a facilitator of 12 years now, and they say all the time, but I don't know what to choose. I don't know what to choose. The thing is, you just have to start. You just have to make a new choice. And even if you ask the question, if I've got 10 seconds to live the rest of my life, what do I choose? You know, that is a starting point. And, you know, because I have facilitated people, like for 30 years I've been facilitating people now, and not just with access, with all the other modalities, and that has been a common theme. You know, I don't know what I really desire as my life, which led me to write my book, Having Your Cake and Eating It Too, because to me, I really wanted people to have the tools to know that you can truly choose anything and create anything, but you have to start. And I know a lot of people are paralysed with not starting for fear they're going to make a wrong choice. Who would have thought even 2 or 3 years ago that I was going to be a published author? I would have laughed at you if someone had said that to me. But the thing is, I knew that the tools needed to get out there, and I was willing to do whatever. And writing the book was so easy.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
what if just by choosing, your life becomes easy?
Yeah.
Are you really willing to have an easy life? Or most people are just into their life being hard.
Yeah, yeah, I know. And so that book, Having Your Cake and Eating It Too, people can find that on Amazon.com. Is that correct?
Yes, you can get it on Amazon, and you can also get it in the Access Consciousness bookshop as well. And I believe it's on Fish Pond and a few others online places as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. And so tell us, you're coming to Bali. Yes, you're going to be doing some Access Consciousness classes. When are you coming?
Great question. End of April, I think, to be honest. I don't know the exact date off the top.
26th, I think maybe you're going to come in and do an intro talk, and then
Yep.
on the 27th, I believe you're going to be teaching Access Bars, and then the 28th, 29th, 30th, and May 1st is the new foundation course. And I've heard
Yes.
there's been some changes, so I'm really excited about that. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, or do you want to keep us kind of wondering about it?
That's funny. Well, I can talk a little bit about it. I've got, I will be facilitating the new foundation. There will be, Gary rewrites the manual every year, and he will be doing that, I think, 2 weeks before I get to Bali. So hopefully we'll have, so we'll have a whole new class. And so inviting everyone. And what excites me too is once you've done the bars and foundation prerequisites, you can do the 3-day body class. And the body processes in Access are life-changing. And I just, teaching or facilitating the 3-day body class is one of my most favourite classes. The peace and the ease that can show up for the bodies after those 3 days is phenomenal. And even for myself, I get as much body work can get done on myself. And I've actually just attended a 3-day body class with another facilitator just so I could get 3 days of body work for me. So that's the gift. And I also attend as many advanced body classes that I can, that Gary facilitates through the year as well. So the body processes in Access are a total gift.
Yeah.
But I'm also
that's
facilitating 2.5-day workshops now from my book. I don't have one posted for Bali on this trip, but certainly would love to be creating one over there in the near future.
wonderful, and I'm really excited to have you here. You know, it's such an honor with your experience and your awareness, I want to say. And the 3-day body class is scheduled for May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I believe. So how can people get a hold of you if they're ready to choose this? They're ready to really make some big changes in their life and learn these incredible tools. What would be the best way for them to get a hold of you?
If they have more questions that they'd like to find out about the classes, they can email me at margaret.braunack@gmail.com. So that's margaret.braunack@gmail.com. That's if they've got more questions. If they desire to register for the classes, those registrations can be done at www.accessconsciousness.com, or you can go in to www.margaretbraunack.accessconsciousness.com and that'll take you to my class page as well. So that's an easy way to get the dates and get lots of information about the classes as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Margaret. It's always a pleasure to be talking with you, and every time I feel like something different shows up, and I'm just so excited to have you come to Bali because I can already feel the energy of what that possibility will create for everybody in Bali, but not only in Bali, in the world, because I really get how Access, when one person changes, everybody else starts to change. It's like that 100 monkey effect, you know? So this is an incredible system of tools to empower you to know that you know. I love that about Access. It's not about saying we know better than you, but it's about asking you, what do you know? What do you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I'm really, really happy to have you here today. Thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to see you in Bali.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a few years since I've been over there doing classes, so I'm really excited that you've asked me back. So what magic can we create and what fun can we have? It's such a beautiful place to relax and nurture our bodies in that space and in that beautiful place where you live, you get to call home. So I'm excited to have some nurture for me while I'm there as well. So thank you so much. It's been fun talking to you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.